Don't you love the noise that Emerald makes? I guess maybe it's really silent on your end. It's really silent on my end as well, so I imagine you can barely hear it. Maybe it's louder for you than it is for me. I don't know. I play with really low volume because I'm also hearing myself all the time while I record these videos. It's just my own voice in my ears, and it drives me nuts. It drives me crazy. It makes me want to go to a rubber room with rats. The rats make me crazy. Anyways, did you guys know they made a Mexican The Office? You know, they always make The Office for every country, and typically when people watch them, it's regarded pretty badly, but apparently this Mexican The Office was actually like properly regarded. People were actually thinking it was funny. So I couldn't resist. I decided to watch it. Holy shit, wait, they're right. They're right. They're right. The Mexican The Office somehow is really good. So it's still The Office, so you still have the same character archetypes. You still have your Jim, you still have your Pam, you still have your Dwight. But I think there's something about like Mexican working culture that just makes it funnier. Something about it clicks so much better, especially because you can have so many ridiculous situations that you couldn't have before in like other countries, right? In the US, kind of it's always been a joke that Michael Scott in that version of the Office was always regarded as somewhat of a terrible boss, but at least he was someone who was fun to work for. So it's like, you know, not a perfect boss, but a serviceable boss. And in this case, they wanted to do the same. But how do you do that in the context of Mexico, where the bosses are known for cheating on their wives, overworking their employees, being absolute idiots, and a product of nepotism? It's like, it just changes the idea of the character so much to just take it from that direction. But also, it's the fact that a lot of bosses here in Mexico just have that vibe. Just the idea of the whole character works exceptionally well because, holy crap, that's not just a bad boss, that's your boss. I feel like a lot of people manage to relate to like having a boss as the Michael Scott version here. So that's pretty awesome. But then it's like you also have your own like gem and whatnot. Gem. Was her name Gem? Jen? The lady that comes in that's not HR. The boss who Michael Scott kinda was into during the earlier seasons before shit got real. Shit got real. Shit was fake all along. Nothing was real. Oh, oh. I can't pick up more stuff. I don't think we need granite and andesite and stuff. Don't break those. What the fuck did I say? I think I need to clean on my inventory. They say clean inventory, clear mind. My mind is currently not clean. I'm thinking about Mexican The Office. So I think culturally it hit a spot, the Mexican version of The Office, and I think that's why people kind of appreciate it. Like near the final episode, there's this event that they do, and it's kind of a shitty event just to promote it on social media, and they're trying to break like a record and shit. And I find it hilarious that they call this K-pop band of Mexican people pretending to be Korean. It seems like a joke, and of course they're not actually trying to be Korean. They just do like Mexican K-pop. But I think the joke there is hilarious because like that would happen. I think that's part of the reason why the show does so good in Spanish. It's just a constant stream of ridiculous situations that occur, and you think to yourself, that would happen. Like, you know, the boss goes to one of the like largest product purchasers, people who actually purchase the product. He goes to them, and it's a brothel, And you go like, that would happen. Ridiculous shit just happens in Mexican The Office. And your honest thoughts are honest. Why did I say it like that? But your honest thoughts genuinely are, that would happen. In real life, that would happen. That would be a real thing that would occur. What do I do here? My inventory too full. My lobster too juicy. My carrots too carroty. Right, I'm gonna do this. Just to pick up the amethyst. Because this is the stuff I'm doing this for. And let's go clean my inventory. My question is, I'm not sure how good The Office Mexico will be for people who, you know, aren't Mexican. I personally get a kick out of it because I see a lot of the workplace culture that is kind of already ridiculous being reflected in a show that's a comedy show. So of course sometimes things are exaggerated. It's not every time. They're not entirely accurate because that was never the point. The point was never to be like, let's accurately portray how Mexican companies and like bosses and like workplaces work. That was never the goal. So yeah, there's a level of exaggeration for comedic purposes. Of course, that big shareholder who is like, he has the brothel. It's like, yeah, they're overblowing it. How exaggerated that is, and how like, different things about it are. And it's on purpose, right? It's the point of the story. The point of the story is to be somewhat ridiculous because that's what makes it funny, I guess, I suppose. So even though yes, it is hitting some stuff about work culture, workplace culture correctly, a lot of stuff that would sound ridiculous and you could plausibly see it happening, even if it's ridiculous. I don't know. I think there's something clean, clean about it. Something really clean about the output of the story. So I'm intrigued as to how that's gonna look because I think it's a Prime show, and as I've been doing research into lately, Prime is the absolute chud kings of not knowing what the fuck they're doing. Not describing them as chud kings, but yeah, it's I guess it's accurate. I guess it's accurate to call them chuds. What do you mean I ran out of space? How much shit am I getting from these? Right, give me this. Plum 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 plum. All right, we want to keep the smooth basalt. Put it somewhere else. What about here? And then I need to sort this shit. Lava 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 lava. Be careful! Don't throw your pickaxe in there. As I was saying, yeah, it is a little ridiculous, but I liked Mexican The Office. I think they did a good job with it. I like all the characters. I kind of think the only character that I feel was kind of sort of missing was a Stanley. So the thing about Mexico is we don't really have that many black people, especially not in like the places. I think the show happens in Aguascalientes, which is part of Mexico. It's not the city of Mexico, very different from the city. And thus because the story happens there, and honestly, like here in Mexico City is where I'd wager one of the places where we have more black people. I'm actually not entirely sure on the demographics, so don't quote me on that one. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Mexico doesn't have. Well, no, I'm 100% sure Mexico doesn't have that many black people compared to the US, where it's plausible that in a regular workplace you would have some black person working with you, right? And here that doesn't really happen. Again, not that there aren't black people. There's one of everything everywhere. Um, we got one of all, basically. Everybody always, every place has one of all. It's what makes it hard for people to be inclusive, I suppose. And so it's like they kind of had to replace him by some other character who is a foreigner, but less of a foreigner, kind of to like try to replace that like feel of someone who would be the black person in the workplace. So it's a little bit of a weird thing, but I think I like the fact that they didn't bring it back. I also feel like the Phyllis counterpart was really weird. I don't find them to be interesting, the Phyllis counterpart, which is kind of a shame because I always really like Phyllis in The Office. So, and then the main cast, the whole Jim, Dwight, what's the name of the cat lady? I forgot her name. The Michael Scott, the Mr. HR. Those are all actually like interesting and complete. So I don't think they're doing such a terrible job with the extended cast, but we do have to wait more. Like the first season's like 8 episodes, and I imagine next season's probably gonna be 10. But maybe it's just 8 again, and it's just forever a shorter series. And it's okay. It's okay. It doesn't have to be a longer series every time. It's just I would honestly not mind having more episodes. I'm excited to see more of Mexican The Office. Do I recommend it? Yeah, probably. I kind of want to know what people who aren't Mexican would think about it. Because I'm Mexican, so like but also I don't know how many of the jokes I laughed at because culturally I were like, oh, I recognize the culture there. I'm not very much to the Leonardo DiCaprio pointing meme. Holy shit, my mouth is too dry to say Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm not very much the type to point at the screen and go like, I recognize the culture, so I am entertained. But I do it sometimes. I won't say it's not also amusing when it happens. I like it. I like pointing at the screen and going, hey, I recognize that actor. Not loudly, but I do like saying it. No, this part is hard. I need to concentrate for this part. Point is, Mexican The Office good. Go watch it. Tell me what you think. I would be intrigued to know what people who aren't Mexican think of Mexican The Office now that I've given it my official seal of approval. Again, not a masterpiece. I don't think it's gonna be better than the original in the long term, because how? How do you do that? Michael Scott's the only one who can like tell you every track from Breakfast in America, which I listened to recently. And it turns out, yeah, my music taste is Michael Scott's music taste. Oh no. What does this say about me? What does this say about the world? What does the world need now? Does it need love? Does it need sweet love? Why do I always finish video by quoting some sort of movie that I remember to? Because I just said some random thing that reminded me of those lyrics. It's almost like I have lyrics stuck in my head and I can't escape them. It's almost like I'm obsessed about this. Yes, yeah.